Hey, welcome to my journal entry. Tux Aratere here. I read from my journal once a week to show you how I navigate the ups and downs of life, how I deal with the difficulties and the successes and the surprises and everything in between. And this I wrote just a couple of days ago. I had woken up feeling overwhelmed and needed to find out what was going on in my mind. So I wrote down everything that was on my mind, or the primary thing that was going on in my mind, what was stressing me out. And I've also written here, what can you do differently? One of the things I wrote here is brain dump. And I continue, I haven't brain dumped and written a day in my life in a very long time. I erroneously believed that brain dumping was a permanent fix to a temporary problem. And even as I write, I see the mindset of finiteness showing up and the either or mentality. So brain dumping is when you literally empty your mind on paper, no matter how mundane it is. Even I need to do the laundry, every single thing goes on paper. And what it does is it empties your mind so that you can look at the problem and solve it on paper without being allowing your emotions to get involved, because that then just clouds everything and messes the whole process up. So I hadn't really been doing brain dumping. I hadn't done one in a while. But even more importantly, I hadn't written a day in my life in quite a while. A day in your life is when you write your future as though it's presently happening. So you don't say I am going to, you say today I went to, and then you write all the amazing things that happen on that day, when you picture life exactly how you want it to look like when you have achieved your goals, or some however many 2-3 years maybe from now. So by writing, I discovered that I'd been running away from writing a day in my life and brain dumping, because somehow I started to believe a lie. And that lie was that it was supposed to be a permanent fix to a temporary problem. And what the lie was telling me was that by now, Tokes, you should have got your stuff together. By now, you should not be waking up overwhelmed. By now, you should have it all together. You should be able to just get up like a boss and own the day and go. I don't know where that lie came from, but it showed up and it was operating full time in my mind. And so I was avoiding it, because if I pull, the light said to me, if you pull out your pen and paper and you start writing, you start brain dumping a day in your future, then it means that all the other times you've done it were a failure. And here you are attempting to win again, and it's probably not going to happen. I would just say that was an attack on my mind, because this is not actually what I believe, yet I did believe it in that moment. And the thing about lies is that they're not so obvious, they tend to be very subtle, and the lie shows up in your mind, and then your eyes and your senses perceive evidence that that lie is actually truth. And the truth is that everything around us can either confirm or deny what we believe or what we fear. So there are answers to, there's evidence that the lies are true, and there's evidence that the truth is a lie. Hope that made sense. All around us, and your eyes are just going to decide what it wants to pick. Anywho, the lie said that when you go to solve a problem, the evidence should show that the problem is permanently solved, and that's not true. And brain dumping, journaling, writing a day in your life, those are actual tools. They are not permanent fixes. They are tools for navigating life. They're not supposed to permanently solve your problem, so that when you come back to use it next time, you tell yourself you failed the last time. But that's somehow what was happening to me. In reality, some problems are a normal and ongoing part of life. Some are seasonal. You can't always solve it, but you can manage it until you leave it behind, and it no longer needs to feature in your life. Some problems you literally just, imagine your life as a path, and you get to a point where there is an obstacle. The obstacle does not move. You're the one that's moving. But if you stand there to try and solve that particular problem and fix the obstacle and knock down the tree or whatever's in your path, you're going to be standing there for a very long time and giving your energy to something that has no bearing on your future. So this series on the Living Inside Out podcast I've been running has been about accepting challenges, living with challenges, making peace with it, growing through it, as opposed to waiting for it to end or hacking at it until it comes to an end, right? And I believe that if we can train ourselves to not impulsively jump at every problem, call it a problem, and give our time and energy to it, I think that we will go so much further in life, because not every problem has to be solved. Some of them we have to actually live with for a season, for the period where you're traveling through while it's on your path, and then you leave it behind and you keep on going to deal with another one in the future. But that's what growth is. The mindset of finiteness, either or, leads us to believe that there are only two options: the presence of a problem or the absence of it, which will lead us to continue to work on an issue until we are satisfied with it. I'm going to stop now because I think I'll put the rest of it on a podcast, which is due out on Saturday. But tell me what your thoughts are about it. There are multiple ways. Oh, this is a whole new thing, which I've been speaking about with my dear friends. But there are many problems. There are many answers to your questions, and there are many questions to your answers. I'm going to expound on that on the podcast. Oops, low battery came up. Make sure you tune in to Living Inside Out this Saturday at 6 o'clock and 6 a.m. That's when the new episode comes up. Whenever you wake up, it's going to be there waiting for you. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Have a lovely day.